You are Locked On Knicks POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports New York on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right, let's do it. The Knicks and Heat have not seen each other since late October. In fact, October 30th. That's the last time the rivals saw each other. And wouldn't you know, Miami probably doesn't want to see the Knicks anytime soon again. The Knicks come from 19 down, force overtime, outscore the Heat 11-7 in the extra session, and win. Knicks beat the Heat 116-112 in overtime. That's a third straight win for New York and an absolutely phenomenal performance from the captain, Jalen Brunson. We'll break it all down right here on the Knicks POSTCAST. Hello, everyone. I'm Jay Berman. If you're a New Yorker, you might recognize my work. If not, welcome aboard. I've spent more than 2 decades in the biz, everything from TV to web to radio. Glad to have you aboard. And remember, follow me on X at Jay Berman, Jayberman. Welcome to the Locked On Knicks POSTCAST, both on the Locked On Sports New York YouTube channel and the Locked On Knicks podcast feed. The POSTCAST, which of course is this, gives you a place to hang out after every single Knicks game. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Jalen Brunson had a game-high 31. He was brilliant, specifically in the fourth quarter and obviously overtime. Meanwhile, interesting, Mikal Bridges didn't see much of the floor in the fourth quarter. In fact, he was benched most of the entire session. Not exactly sure why. We'll try to figure it out as, once again, the Knicks beat the Heat in overtime. All that coming up on the POSTCAST. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Also want to let you know your favorite podcast now has a newsletter. Introducing the Locked On Knicks Daily Newsletter. One stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. Start your day with the all-new free Locked On Knicks newsletter. All right, as we said, an overtime thriller. Knicks win it 116-112. As we said, at one point, the Knicks trailed by 19, only to force the extra session. They even trailed in overtime at one point, but again, clutch city as the Knicks win their 40th game of the season. They're now 40-20. They've played 60 games. We have exactly 22 games remaining. Amazing how quickly the season works through it. Again, Knicks are 40-20. They're 19-10 away. Almost exactly halfway at between home and away. Knicks are 40-20 and again 19-10 away. As for the Heat, they continue to struggle. They're below 500. All right, as we said, it was a game of runs. Let's try and break them down. The first run came courtesy of Miami. It was a 16-0 run late second quarter. Miami outscored the Knicks 35-23 in the second alone. So that was a big reason why the Knicks were in a 19-point hole. However, the Knicks had 2 separate runs of their own that obviously helped them come back and win. A 13-0 run late in the third quarter got them back within single digits. And then a 9-0 run late fourth quarter got the Knicks into a position where they could tie and force overtime. Now, the Knicks did not take a lead until 3 minutes remaining to play in the fourth quarter. That made it 101-100. New York's, by the way, third overtime game in the last 7, and now they're a perfect 5-0 in the extra session. We told you about Mikal Bridges. We'll get to it. He played, I believe, 1 minute of the fourth quarter, basically just an inbounds pass and a defensive set. But again, he did not play very many minutes for a man that leads the NBA in minutes per game. We'll get to the minutes police portion of the schedule of the show. Mikal played just 28 minutes. Perspective on that, Deuce McBride came off the bench and played 30. OG, Cat, Brunson, and Hart all played 40 or more. So Have to wait and see for some post-game comments on exactly why Mikal Bridges did not see playing time in the fourth quarter. Obviously, the stats have something to do with it. Bridges was 2 of 11 from the floor, 1 of 6 from three-point land, did dish out 8 assists and grab 4 rebounds, but had just 5 points, and again, did not play much of the fourth quarter. As for Jalen Brunson, we said 31, a game high, 13 of 25 from the floor, hit 3 huge three-pointers, including the huge three-pointer late in the fourth. He had 31 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals. Now, Brunson and Cat both got into foul trouble relatively early. They both had 4 fouls deep into the second half. So neither fouled out, but obviously that changes the way you play the game, specifically on defense. All right, 14 points for Josh Hart, who took a scary fall late in this one. Hart was 7 of 12 from the floor, also had 7 rebounds and 3 assists. Again, he had 14. As for Karl Anthony Towns, back into the double-double department. Cat now has 43 double-doubles in 53 games. Remember, he's played 53. The Knicks have played 60. The Knicks are 4-3 without the services of Cat. Now, as we said, 43 double-doubles in 53 games. The 43rd came tonight. He didn't take very many shots. He was just 6 of 11 from the floor, but had 19 points, 16 rebounds. Believe it or not, a stat we didn't think we'd see, but Cat did not dish out an assist tonight. But again, 19 and 16, plenty. OG had some important minutes as well and some important shots down the stretch, specifically from 3. 4 huge three-pointers for OG. He had 23 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks, and only 1 turnover. Now, that is OG to a T. Filling it up. Again, 23 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks, and only 1 turnover. We tell you pretty much periodically, pretty much nightly, that in regard to the assists game, the Knicks better get to 30. Well, they didn't get to 30 tonight. They dished out 27 assists, but they only committed 10 turnovers. So a pretty good number there, 27 to 10. We tell you about the assists nightly because it's proven to be pretty important. When the Knicks get to 30-plus assists in a game, it usually means a victory. Knicks have dished out 30-plus assists 22 times this season. As we've told you, they're 20-2 in those games. Back to OG real quick. We told you about his 23-point performance. OG, as a Knick, since the trade from Toronto, in the lineup, Knicks are 55-22 with OG in the lineup. We've told you about OG not being in the lineup as well. He's missed 6 games this season. The Knicks are 18-15 without him combined in the last 2 seasons. So when OG plays, the Knicks win. When OG doesn't play, the Knicks are a 500 team. So very key to have OG in there. All 5 starters scored in double figures with the exception of Bridges, who again only scored 5 points and only played 28 minutes. As for the 3-ball, impressive 3-ball defense in the last game for the Knicks. More of the same. 11 of 35 were the Heat. From three-point land, that's 31%, so below their season average. Pretty good job by the Knicks defense. Knicks were right there as well, 14 of 44, also 32%. As the Knicks, again, connected on 14 three-pointers. Everyone had a three-point shot who nailed a three-point shot tonight, with the exception of Mitchell Robinson. We'll get to him. And obviously Josh Hart. Everyone else hit at least 1 3. 4 for OG, 3 for Brunson, 3 for Deuce, who again played 30 minutes off the bench. And Deuce McBride had more playing minutes tonight than Mikal Bridges, who of course leads the NBA at nearly 39 per. But again, question for Tibbs, why did Bridges sit most of, if not the entire fourth quarter? We'll get to it. Most likely in the next show when we know why Tibbs benched Bridges. All right, as we said, it was the first game in versus Miami since before Halloween. It was October 30th. If you recall, in that game, Karl Anthony Towns had 44. That was the third game of the season. The Knicks have now beaten Miami twice this season, and 4 out of the last 5 times they've played, the Knicks have won. All right. It was a game of runs. We told you what they were. We'll describe each run coming up next after our very first break here on the Postcast. All right, when the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started, and there's no better place to get in on it than FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game, so even if you miss the opening tip-off or want to bet on a fourth quarter comeback, you can stay in the action. And if you're looking for a bigger payout, well, guess what? You can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay. I love using FanDuel's live betting feature because it keeps every moment of the game exciting. Whether I'm backing my team for a late-game rally like tonight with the Knicks or picking a player to hit a clutch 3, I never feel like I missed my chance. Plus, the app is easy to use, and when you win, you get paid instantly. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, segment 2 of the show. Knicks visit the Heat in Miami, stun the Heat in Miami. After a wonderful win in Memphis over the Grizzlies, the Knicks at one point tonight against the Heat in Miami trail by 19. You figured it was over. Jalen Brunson did not allow that to happen. As we told you before the break, a game of runs. Here they are. Heat, a 16-0 run late second quarter propelled them to that double-digit lead. In fact, it swelled to 19. So the Knicks certainly had their work cut out for them. Late third quarter, Knicks, a 13-0 run. They get back into the game. They trim the deficit down to single digits. Another run by Miami puts them up comfortably. However, a run from the Knicks puts them right back in it. A late regulation, late fourth quarter run, a 9-0 run, pretty much courtesy of Jalen Brunson on his own. At one point, he scored 13 of 17 points the Knicks put in the late fourth quarter stages and overtime. So again, a 16-0 run for the Heat in the second, a 13-0 run for the Knicks in the third, and a 9-0 run for the Knicks in the fourth. Put it all together, and the Knicks beat the Heat 116-112 in overtime. As we said, surprising, the Knicks have not seen Miami since October 30th, the first week of the regular season, technically the second week of the regular season, but just a couple of games in with the new look Knicks. And that was when Karl Anthony Towns made his presence felt. As we said, scored 44 in that game, helping the Knicks win. Tonight, it was Jalen Brunson who had a game-high 31. As for the plus-minuses, Brunson was a plus 12 to lead all scorers. How about Deuce off the bench, a plus 11, plus 10 for Cat? Perhaps one of the reasons why Bridges had a seat in the fourth quarter. He was the only Knicks starter in a minus situation in the plus-minus category. He was -5. Again, scoring just 5 points. He did have 4 rebounds and 8 assists. The problem tonight for the Knicks, from a Miami perspective, Bam Adebayo, who was brilliant. Now, check out these numbers. Adebayo had 30, most from right around the paint. He took 2 3-pointers, missed them both. He was 12 of 16 from the floor, which means from inside the arc, he was 12 of 14. He missed just 2 2-point shots. 12 of 16. He was brilliant. Again, 30 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, and certainly kept Miami in it. Don't forget, folks, Miami's playing without the services of Jimmy Butler, who they traded to Golden State. We'll get to Golden State because that's who the Knicks have next on the schedule. As we said, 30 for Bam. All 5 Miami starters were in double digits. Tyler Hero struggled tonight. Did have 22, but missed multiple big opportunities in both the fourth quarter and overtime. He took 24 shots, made just 8 of them, and missed 9 3-point shots, was 2 of 11 for Miami. Again, 116-112, the final score. By the way, in case you missed it before the game, the Knicks, some housework. They waived both Matt Ryan and Jacob Toppin, which means there'll be some fresh faces, if not 1, 2, if not 2, 1, coming up in probably the next couple of days. Again, so long to Matt Ryan and Jacob Toppin, we hardly knew ye. Meanwhile, the bench has been pretty good for the Knicks. As we said, the stretches for most of the season did not involve big bench minutes or big bench points, but things are starting to turn around. Knicks scored 25 points off the bench between Mitchell Robinson, Cam Payne, Deuce McBride, Landry Shamet. Precious Achiuwa, who has been getting double-digit minutes up until the last game in Memphis, didn't even see the floor tonight. And there it is, folks. There's your Mitchell Robinson update. Played 13 minutes tonight, just took 1 shot. It was a dunk, and chipped in with just 2 rebounds. However, it's the defensive presence there. He did have a block. His presence in the paint certainly contributed to the Knicks win tonight. So, again, Mitchell Robinson played 12 minutes in the opener, or at least his season opener, played 13 more minutes tonight. Tibbs was asked before the game what exactly spurts means in regard to playing time for Mitchell Robinson. And he said, I'm not really sure. We'll just have to wait and see how thorough he is. Now, as we said, averaging right around 12 or 13 minutes, played 12 minutes against Memphis, 13 minutes tonight, took just 1 shot. As we said, Deuce was great off the bench. Deuce in 30 minutes hit 3 3-pointers, scored 12 points, and was a plus 11, the only Knick off the bench with a plus minus in the plus category. All right, New York's 3rd overtime game in its last 7. And needless to say, the Knicks are good in overtime. They're now 5 for 5 in the extra session as they've won all of their overtime games this season. So excellent stuff. Now, the Knicks have given up at least 100 points in 26 of their last 29 games. At one point tonight, you thought maybe the Knicks weren't going to get to 100. They had just 45 at the break. But huge third quarter, 36-25, outscoring Miami did the Knicks. And then in the fourth quarter, the defense stepped up. The Heat scored just 18 points in the fourth quarter, and obviously that allowed the Knicks to get to overtime. They outscored Miami 11-7 in the extra session, and they win 116-112. All right, we'll take our final break of the postcast. When we return, we got to do schedule. We got to do standings. And by the way, we've discussed the schedule. It's brutal. 9 of 11 on the road, 5 out west. We'll get to it coming up. All right, NBA fans, get ready. They swoosh, you save. Thanks to Dash Pass, every time a player drops 50 or more points in a game, you score a huge deal the very next day. It's simple. When any player scores 50 or more in a game during the 24-25 NBA regular season, Dash Pass members get 50% off an order, up to $10 off the next day from noon to midnight. Here are a few ways you can take advantage of this deal. Order your go-to snacks and meals at a discount. Get ready for more high-scoring action. Also with Dash Pass, you get your favorite meals with $0 delivery fees and reduced service fees. Plus, now you can save even more with this exclusive NBA offer. Whether you're staying up watching highlights or just need a midnight snack, use Dash Pass to grab something delicious while saving big. After an epic 50-point performance, celebrate by ordering wings or pizza or burgers from your favorite spot. delivered straight to your door. Sign up for Dash Pass. Be ready to save. When any player scores 50 or more in a game, Dash Pass members get 50% off an order the next day, up to $10 off. Just use promo code NBA50 from noon to midnight after a 50-point game on eligible orders at participating merchants. Must have an active Dash Pass account. Terms apply. Visit DoorDash to learn more. All right, final segment of the show. Knicks visit the Heat in Miami, and they win. 116-112 in overtime. At one point tonight, the Knicks trailed by, get this, folks, 19. And they win by 4. We told you it was a game of runs. A 16-0 run by the Heat in the second quarter. A 13-0 run by the Knicks in the third quarter. And then eventually a 9-0 run late in the fourth quarter for the Knicks. So huge runs by both sides in this game. As we said, the Knicks trailed big at the half. They scored only 45 points in the first half, but a strong third quarter. That's been a key quarter for the Knicks this season. They've been effective in that stanza and obviously in the fourth quarter as well. Jalen Brunson, his 7th straight 20-plus point game. He has been, simply put, the best Knick. Now, Karl-Anthony Towns had an argument to step in and call himself the best Knick for most of the season, certainly through the first 50 to 60 games. However, he missed a few games. He's been tense and struggling of late. So back into the lead for the next best player this season, Jalen Brunson. Just been spectacular. Played 42 minutes tonight, 13 of 25 from the floor. He did miss 8 3-pointers, but hit 3 huge ones. He was 3 of 11 from 3. One of those huge ones from dead on, top of the key, nailed it late in the fourth quarter. As we said, Karl-Anthony Towns took just 11 shots, but was certainly effective. 6 of 11 from the floor, had 19 points, 16 rebounds. Meanwhile, Josh Hart, for a second, if I told you this was the truth, you wouldn't have believed me. For a second consecutive game, Josh Hart did not register an offensive rebound. Josh tonight had 7 rebounds, but again, did not register an offensive rebound, which we know is his forte, is his specialty. But again, it comes in a Knicks win. If you did watch tonight, you saw a very scary fall late fourth quarter. Surprised Hart got right up, but he did. Fell basically on his back from way up. It was sort of undercut squarely on his back. But again, got up. Looked serious, wasn't. So I'm sure he's pretty sore. But again, excellent stuff from Josh Hart. The Knicks took the lead for the first time in the game with 3 minutes to play in the fourth quarter. They went up 101-100, believe it or not, and then had to hold on to force the overtime. The Knicks' third overtime game in the last 7. As we said, they've won 3 in a row, but they've all been nail biters. Obviously, after the 2 losses to Cleveland and Boston, when everyone was assuming the worst, well, the Knicks, a tough-fought win in Madison Square Garden against the Sixers, a tough-fought win in Memphis, and then a tough-fought win in Miami against the Heat. All right, let's do the standings. The Celtics today held on to beat the Nuggets. They had a huge lead in that game. They hang on to win by 7, 110-103. So the Celtics are 43-18. The Knicks are 40-20. They remain 2.5 back of the Celtics for the 2 seed. So not out of reach by any stretch as of yet. As for Cleveland, they obviously still own the top spot in the Eastern Conference. Cavs won their 50th game of the season tonight. They beat the Blazers in overtime. So here are the up-to-date standings. Cavs lead the Celtics by 7.5, the Knicks by 10. So the Knicks are just 2.5 behind the Celtics for the 2 seed. Remember, folks, top 3 in the Eastern Conference: Cleveland, Boston, New York, and on the other side, obviously, Oklahoma City comfortably at the top of the Western Conference standings. All right, as for the schedule, the Knicks will return home Tuesday night. Enjoy it, folks, because it will be their last home game for a while. Tuesday night against Steph and Golden State. It will also be the first of 2 games against Golden State in 10 days. Obviously, one in New York, the other in San Francisco late on the trip. So again, Tuesday, Golden State, 7:30 tip time from the Garden. Then, folks, sayonara, Knicks. See you out west. 5-game Western Conference swing. 11 days out west. It begins in California against each of the LA teams. Remember, folks, they don't play in the same building anymore. So Thursday will be against the Lakers. Friday against the Clippers. Both games in LA again. Lakers, Clippers, Thursday, Friday. Then on to Sacramento, on to Portland, and finally, it wraps up in Golden State in 2 weeks from yesterday. So again, 11 days, 5 games. We do have to do Golden State first. Knicks will try and extend their win streak to 4. Again, 3 straight wins. Philadelphia, Memphis, and Miami. All nail-biters. All interesting stuff. And considering it came after the blowouts to both Cleveland and Boston, kudos to the Knicks for not quitting. All right, your favorite podcast now has a newsletter. Introducing the Locked On Knicks Daily Newsletter. One stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now. LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. Start your day with the all-new free Locked On Knicks newsletter. Before we get out of here, I also want to mention our partners in crime, Gavin Shaw and Alex Wolf, the All-Stars. They handle all the stuff at Locked On Knicks. They're the best, so follow, subscribe, and enjoy. As we said, the Knicks trailed by 19 tonight. They completed their biggest comeback of the year. They beat the Heat in overtime, 116-112. And because of that, the Knicks are now 40-20 overall. And again, they trailed the Celtics by 2.5 games in the Eastern Conference standings. One more to go before the Western Conference swing. Will be with you immediately following Knicks and Warriors from the Garden Tuesday night. See you then.